Now this might be a lovely marriage, but will things in general still be just as lovely? Hey guys, MasakoX here. Now this tale is probably one of the most popular amongst the entire Dragon Ball fandom. In fact, it's one of the oldest. Last month, we chose to explore the scenario of what might have happened had Goku chosen to marry Bulma instead of Chi-Chi. So we are continuing What If Week with the second chapter of that story. In the last chapter, we deduced that the whole relationship between Goku and Bulma and their subsequent marriage would have been built on not only admiration and intrigue, but actually at the end of the day when we got to the end of Dragon Ball, just flat out attraction. I mean, most of that attraction came from Bulma, but hey. With Chi-Chi's advances thwarted, she took solace in Yamcha, which was briefly touched upon in the original story, and so lives in the city with her baseball star of a husband, giving him the confidence to knuckle down and truly become a much more complete person than in the original story. So in a way, everybody kind of benefits. Also, we still have a Gohan in our tale, but it's not quite the same person. Despite having the same name, this Gohan is quite different, far more confident and playful, but almost as eloquent and intelligent. He's more well-rounded and has a better balanced lifestyle instead of having his face shoved in a book 24/7 like Chi-Chi does with the original Gohan. And that was all just in a desperate bid to try and eliminate any kind of carefree attitude that his father has. In this situation, Bulma doesn't feel the need to, allowing him free reign to do what he wants. You know, he gets to train with his father, he gets to spend time with his mother, inventing things and building things, actually feeding that intriguing and curious mind. However, we must return to the story proper, and we begin things right at the beginning of Dragon Ball Z, in the Raditz saga. Raditz arrives on Earth and tries to find his brother Kakarot, having first encountered Piccolo out in the wasteland, and thinking that, oh, this doesn't look like an Earthling. Oh well, he's kind of powerful, but oh wait, no, you're a more powerful person, no. Sorry, no offense. Meanwhile, Gohan is busy playing some video games in his room when Goku returns from the forest carrying some big, huge, tasty fish as he does. All of this just for a very small lunch because they got to go somewhere. That's right. Bulma reminds the pair of them that they're off to Kame House to meet up with Krillin and Roshi, so those two better eat up quickly, and as we know with Goku, that is not a problem. Once they arrive at Kame House, Goku begins to reminisce with Krillin and Roshi for the first time in at least 5 years, but then suddenly, Raditz shows up and breaks up the party. He then explains Goku's Saiyan origins to everyone concerned. Bulma is of course shocked by this initial revelation, but when she actually thinks about it some more, it starts to make more and more sense. This boy that she admired and fallen in love with was different, and she knew it from the start but couldn't quite pinpoint it. It had been racking her brain for years and it drove her insane. Now she knows. All of that time, Goku's unexplained power, the tails, the transformations in that giant monkey, it had an explanation, and to a scientific brain, explanations are the best kind of treat. There's a reason behind it. All this time she'd been dating an alien. And actually, she's kind of excited by that. Not that she's going to be telling anyone this right now, because it's really not the time. And besides, Raditz doesn't exactly look like the most friendliest of individuals. After refusing to join forces with him, Goku then accidentally draws attention to Gohan. Raditz sees Gohan and then notices the Saiyan tail, and decides to use this little brat as a bargaining chip. Now what happens next is a little different than in the original story. Unlike the previous Gohan, this Gohan has actually had some training, so he can defend himself. He is a fair bit stronger and a lot more capable than his anime counterpart. Granted, he's certainly not strong enough to beat Raditz here and then, I mean come on, let's not get crazy here, but he can at least put up a decent fight. Raditz tries to grab Gohan, but Gohan grabs Raditz's arm and smacks him backwards. This actually affects Raditz more than he expected because he wasn't actually going to expect anything from a little kid, so yeah, he's actually taken by surprise. This distraction allows Krillin and Goku to jump on Raditz and just immediately wail on him. Again, this is all taken by surprise, so it's a lot more effective than it would have been had it just been a regular sparring match. And it's actually enough to somewhat injure Raditz. Now we also have to remember that Raditz is a lot more cautious than the average Saiyan, so at this point, he decides the best course of action right now is to retreat and then try again at another time when he can get the jump on them. He halts proceedings by deciding to tell Goku that if he doesn't join forces with him in the next 24 hours, Raditz will blow up the planet. And people actually believe him. I And yes, of course, we know that Raditz doesn't have enough power to destroy the planet, but they don't know. Raditz is the most powerful being that they have ever encountered, multiple times stronger than King Piccolo, and he was meant to be the representation of a demon, so this guy from space, who claims to be Goku's brother who's already quite strong? Yeah, I think they're gonna be fooled by this hook, line and sinker. Piccolo, who has still had his encounter with Raditz and is aware of his power, decides to put his differences with Goku aside and try and figure out a plan as to how to best this Saiyan. The biggest thing that is different from the original story is that Gohan hasn't been kidnapped, so they have a little bit more time to think of a solution. Gohan is keen to help his father, but Bulma's not ready to risk her son's life right now. Yes, she knows that Gohan is actually quite tough, but no, I don't think any self-respecting mother would actually willingly put her son or child in danger. This Gohan, who is far more spoilt than his original counterpart, starts to get more and more angry, just on the verge of having a temper tantrum. It all culminates with him screaming his head off, exploding with a powerful rage that has never been seen by anyone else before. So Gohan does indeed have his rage bursts, but these rage bursts come from more selfish emotions than the original. Raditz from afar can sense this power fluctuation, but since it's so high and so unheard of on this planet up until now, he just thinks that, oh, it must be the Scouter adjusting itself to Earth's atmospheric field or whatever. Basically, he just ignores it, really. Goku is amazed by his son's latent power, which for a brief second exceeded his own. Goku pleads with Bulma to let him take Gohan with him because Gohan might be the only person who could step up to Raditz and actually save Earth from destruction. Goku asks Gohan to try and unlock that power again, but try as he might, the little boy can't. Piccolo, who is actually getting rather impatient, decides to actually cut proceedings off and just take Gohan and head towards Raditz, kind of spoiling the moment there. He's just gonna use Gohan as bait. Goku, taken by surprise, rushes off after him. Bulma is also left shocked, but isn't going to take this lying down. She pulls out her Hoi Poi capsule box and then opens up a transporter, and then everyone at Kame House goes off in hot pursuit of Raditz, and Piccolo and Goku, albeit a lot slower. Piccolo and Gohan arrive first, with Gohan looking particularly frightened at the suddenness of everything that has just happened. Piccolo isn't going to be soft on this boy and just decides to shout at Gohan even more, making him even more whiny. Raditz steps out and demands to know what is going on here. Goku then arrives and begins to chastise Piccolo for taking his son, as you would of course. And this is just going to increase the rift between the two even more so. Raditz decides to break up the spat right at once and decides to take them head on at the same time. And as we know, the pair are easily overwhelmed by Raditz's power. However, don't think that Raditz has forgotten about Gohan because Gohan's right there and he's going to use Gohan at any moment as bait. Yeah, sure, Gohan is quite scared and a little angry, but he's also determined. Once again, his aura increases and he begins to have the rage burst affect his mood. And don't forget, in this scenario, he's actually trained a little bit with his father, and actually is a fair bit more powerful when boosted up, so yeah, Raditz, watch out. He lets out a scream and rushes Raditz from behind, not only breaking his space armor, but actually goes through his space body. Kind of like how King Piccolo had that happen to him from Goku. He falls to the ground bleeding out, leaving Goku and Piccolo completely dumbfounded as to what happened as well, only they are a lot more intact. The one thing that they know for sure is that Gohan is now on the floor, exhausted and almost unconscious. Raditz coughs up more blood and then calls out to his brother. His friends will come, more Saiyans stronger than him, and they will exact their wrath upon Earth as vengeance, and saying that the Saiyan race will conquer all. Raditz then of course dies, but one thing we have to remember here is that Goku is not just uninjured, but he's also alive. By the time Bulma arrives, Gohan is coming to a little more, but he looks pretty beaten up and kind of woozy. Bulma shouts at both Goku and Piccolo for endangering Gohan's life, Piccolo for taking the boy in the first place, and Goku not stepping up sooner. Not wanting to hear any more of this chastising, Piccolo then just flies off back into the wasteland some more to actually lick his wounds and then probably train on his own some more, meditating or sleeping or whatever. Goku then tells Bulma that Gohan was the one to take out Raditz and not them. Bulma doesn't believe him and insists that Goku is lying, but Roshi can sense that Goku's telling the truth. He knows Goku and trusts his judgment 100%. Bulma doesn't know what to do right now, but the focus remains on the fact that Raditz has just made a big promise that Earth will still be destroyed in 1 year's time. They better get on and try and do something about that. In times like these, Goku's first instinct is to go up to the lookout and ask Kami for help. What can they do? Can he train him some more like in the old times? But by the time they get there and Goku's actually asked the question, Kami actually knew that he was going to ask that question and just thinks, I'm sorry, there's nothing I can do. The only way that Goku can get stronger is to go to the other world and train with the likes of King Kai. Goku asks Kami whether he can take Gohan with him, and since Kami can easily sense auras and can sense the emanating rage coming from Bulma, he decides not to answer that question and instead tells Goku to actually ask the question to Bulma herself, because she deserves to be in on this. Bulma relents, albeit reluctantly, and asks Goku to promise that the two of them will arrive safely before the Saiyans do. Alright Gohan, we're about to go on a trip! Are you ready for some fighting, son? And don't forget, this is all going to be for a whole year, so Gohan, being 4 years old and an impetuous child, he's so excited! He gets to be with his daddy and get to train! This is awesome! And with that, Kami transports the pair to the other world, and King Yama easily grants them passage. But they still have to do the actual travelling of Snake Way. He's not going to let them off that easily. Meanwhile, back on Earth, Bulma takes Raditz's scouter and, much like in the anime and manga, tries to fiddle around with it because remember, this is new tech, something that Bulma's not seen before and can prove immensely valuable and profitable for Capsule Corporation. Krillin meets up with Yamcha and Ten Shinhan and actually states that they better get on training and actually see if they can actually stand up to the Saiyans. I mean, Earth's got to have some Earthlings in the fight, and sure enough, they all agree to go train with him. And do you think Chi-Chi's gonna stop him? Well, actually, no. Because, hey, it's the baseball off-season, she's got a lot of money in the kitty, besides, they have a very big insurance policy on his life. As for Piccolo, in this case, he's all alone. He hasn't got Gohan to train with, so he's just on his lonesome, doing nothing other than training on his own and meditating. Months pass and Goku and Gohan arrive at King Kai's planet. When they arrive, King Kai is ready for them, and after the typical tasks of trying to make him laugh as well as catching Bubbles and Gregory, the pair succeed and they begin their training with only weeks to spare. As a result, both Goku and Gohan learn the Kaioken, Goku easily, and Gohan only just barely able to understand the mechanics of it. I mean, come on, he's 4 years old, well, actually approaching 5, but his body is so small, he might not be able to take it on all at once. Back on Earth, the Z-Fighters have also finished their training. Anyway, King Kai still makes the mistake of not accounting for the time it takes for the two of them to return to the checkout station and then get back to Earth. And as a result, the destruction of East City by Vegeta and Nappa still occurs. However, there is one crucial motivation that is missing from this story. Vegeta and Nappa don't know about the Dragon Balls. Since Goku didn't die, nobody discussed them. This will have major ramifications later on in the story, but for now, everyone else has to actually deal with the same menace. Now this is where I'm going to leave things for right now, but as you can tell, things are evolving pretty quickly. Because of Goku's marriage to Bulma, this Gohan is a lot more focused on pretty much everything, and much more of an all-rounder. As well as training, as well as studying, there's this confidence and sense of chill. Piccolo is much more of a recluse and his relationship with Gohan is practically non-existent. In fact, it's negative because hey, Gohan was used as bait and I don't think the kid would take it that too kindly. Also, Gohan knows the Kaioken, although he probably won't be able to use it to its full potential right now. It might come about later on in the story, but who knows? Let's find out in the next part. So what do you guys think? Do you like this scenario? How much of an impact do you think Gohan will make in the fight between Vegeta and Nappa? Leave a comment below and let's get this discussion going. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. Until the next one, be sure to like and subscribe. Catch you later!